All right, a very special segment of This Week in the ACFL. We're going to review the entire league for you as we head into the last week. No games this Sunday because of Memorial Day. And we're just going to take a look at the league overall. And this is being brought to you by Tony's Pizzeria in Morris Plains. And again, guys, Italian food par excellence right on Speedwell Avenue.
So why you gotta get me hungry, man?
I figured I'd start with that right away because after that you're going to need a workout. So right here we're giving you the information on Tony's Pizza right in front of us here. And after you have a nice big meal at Tony's Pizza and you head for the gym.
Can we just take the pizza?
No, we have to do this.
Speed, strength,
SSP. Go ahead, Adam.
Speed, strength, and performance nutrition, SSP nutrition. It's really a fantastic thing. Pre-workout, post-workout, protein, and I believe they talked last week about creatine in here. It's a sampler pack, is this particular pack, but it's one of our new sponsors. Very happy to have them aboard.
And they're sponsoring a B Division Player of the Week award, which the first winner will be announced next week.
Nice.
And every week after that, right through the playoffs. So that's a
And
great
also
product.
The first touchdown of every game,
Yeah.
I
They're
believe,
sponsoring
is
the
the
first touchdown of every
SSP
game.
touchdown of the game.
So that's a new sponsor. Thank you for coming on board. And this sampler pack is worth about $30 too, right?
Yeah.
That's a great
So
value.
I mean, if you go to the gym at all and you want to end up looking like Popeye the Sailor, this is the stuff for you.
Or energy for
Or
you.
eats me spinach.
Or eats me spinach, right? Also, again, hey, you know, I opened the closet up the other day in my house and everything fell on me. So I think I got to give Darren's Cleanup a call
Oh yeah.
and get him down there. Darren's Cleanup.
Trying to figure out where you were going with
Well,
that.
I was headed right for Darren's phone number. Again,
What's that
professional.
number? Can we have that number?
Absolutely, put it up there along with his beautiful logo there, right there. There it is. Industrial demolition, home cleanup, office cleanup. He'll drop a container off at your house for you.
My wife didn't appreciate that comment you had about them.
Throwing out the wife and kids, but that's optional.
Oh, okay.
That's and Darren. I don't know if he would do that, but you know he might give you directions if you wanted to.
Darren
do it
has
himself.
some limits.
Darren has limitations, but the one limitation is not service. He is extremely serviceable. He does a great job. Give him a call, and you know he'll give you a free estimate and tell you exactly what might be the best route for you to take. And with that said, now we're getting to Memorial Day weekend. Our last sponsor, one of my favorite golf courses, the Meadows at Lincoln Park. Again, great golf course. Dennis, the manager, you mentioned this, Ed. He'll give you a discount on your round of golf. Course is in great condition all the time. Just a nice, pleasant round of golf there. You a golfer?
Not yet, Joe.
You a golfer, Adam?
Big time.
Big time. We got to get on the links.
Absolutely.
Both of us versus Flanagan. All right. So let's get to it.
Some money on that one too.
So let's get to it. All right, so here we are. We have 1 week left in the regular season, right? So the Flag A division, basically, is anybody going to challenge a sure thing for the chip?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, we had their game of the week last week, and they started out a little shaky. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think the halftime score against the Diablos was 22-17.
Something like that, yep.
They didn't look quite like a sure thing has looked, but then they still, for I forget how many straight weeks it is, put up 40 points. This is a team that is just
They
an
did it
offensive
They
juggernaut.
did it again, 40 again.
You know, if you can't stop their offense and if you can't stop the King, you cannot beat AST.
Do the Canes get another shot at them in the championship game?
I think if it comes down to it's going to be for the championship game. You know, right now, how I'm looking at it, AST #1. I think Canes probably going to finish up on #2. If that does happen, the only time they're going to meet up is in that championship.
In that
game.
chip game. So the Canes, if they get to that chip game, if ASC gets to that chip, you know, we're taking for granted that they could get bumped off by a team. You know, we're
We just saw the All-Stars get beat by Crush last week.
Well, with
I know it's
the-
bad weather condition. A couple of key players, but
Players
it
are
happens.
missing, right?
I mean, guys,
You know-
we hear this about every sport, every league, whatever it may be. Any given team on any given day, and especially in the playoffs. That's why we watch things like the NCAA tournament. That's why we watch the NFL playoffs, because you think it's going to go one way, and sometimes it goes a different way. So yeah, you could put
Like the Knicks.
like
Yeah.
Knicks. You could bank on the Canes. You could bank on AST. It doesn't mean anything.
If all the teams in the A division play their best game in the playoffs, who wins?
I still think AST wins.
Who wins?
Right now, I'm going with the Canes, Joe. I think
You're
Canes.
not giving up on the Canes, okay.
Look, Canes get, we see this every season. You look at the fall, Diablos beating them, Cheeky Monkeys. Canes do lose games. I mean, it happens to all of us, But do they lose twice to the same team? That's yet to be seen, Joe.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be the tiebreaker here. I think that if all the teams play their best game, I think that both teams have a lot of weapons. Jermaine Pugh, running back, wasn't there. Joey Laguna, a big factor. Justin, a big factor. The King, big factor. I got to tell you, I'm going to go with the Canes by a field goal in this game because Brad Chopkick, the kicker, is going to be the difference if it's a tight game.
Look, and I don't think there is a wrong choice there. Either one of those teams, fantastic. I mean, if you can somehow match those teams up, I mean, it's beauty and art. But let's just talk about a short thing there for a second, because when we had them on our Game of the Week last week, the Laguna brothers weren't exactly on...
Timing was a
The timing was a little off. Joey's throws were not perfect, and other brothers...
Justin.
And Justin, I apologize. A couple balls hit his hands and dropped. So... But nonetheless, they still put up 40 points.
That's the thing with the short thing. Yeah, there's a couple key players that might not step up, but then you have somebody else stepping up, Then you have Harris stepping up, or Cy on defense, They have, the superstars all around, both sides of the ball.
All right, give me one upsetter. Give me one team that could go in there and just flip the apple cart over. Who would you pick?
You know who? I think a lot of guys are going under the radar here. The Kodiaks. Watch out, Joe. These guys won the Flag B division. They stepped up here in the A. Not much talk about these guys, but I think Kodiaks could upset a lot of these teams.
Pick an upsetter to upset the apple cart.
I agree with Jim for one reason, and we saw it last week as they were part of our game breaks during the Diablos AST game. It's their kicker.
Yeah.
The kicker
Talk about a kicker, Joe? How about this guy, man?
a 40,
Yeah, we're looking at him right now. He can put the ball.
40-yard field goal kick.
At the end zone on there?
I mean,
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's nothing to sneeze at.
That's a
and
good
you know what?
point.
In a game that could be very close, could be high scoring, could be low scoring, and if you get close and you can't shoot the end zone and you need a kicker to come in there, you got to have somebody you trust, and you have to have somebody who can actually hit the field goal.
That'd be an interesting matchup. Brad Chopkick and the kicker on the Kodaks, number 52.
Well, I got a different apple cart upsetter here. I got one. The Cheeky Monkeys. The Cheeky Monkeys just knocked off the Kodiaks. Okay? They have a quarterback in Goose. They have JoJo. They have Wicker. They have Donnie. They have Playmate. They have the franchise. They got guys that can make plays. Okay? And you got any team that can make plays, you got to be a little worried about.
I like that pick, Joe. And when they lost to the Canes, I believe they were without Goose that week. I think DJ Candy came in there. And they almost upset the Canes without their.
So it's gonna be a great playoff. So let's go ahead.
It's the old expression: you're only as strong as your weakest link. The weak link for a lot of these teams comes in when their best players are gone, or they're not playing up to their normal standards.
Is Pomo going to be there for the Diablos in the playoffs?
Right. So that's a good example. The Diablos were playing without Pomo in that game last week. Still played pretty well.
Well, again, like you just said, it's a playoff game. We got to see who's there. I got a feeling that for a playoff game, you got to make the effort to be there. But
records don't matter.
No, everybody's 0-0. But now, as far as Flag B is concerned, we've got a big surprise for you, and it's coming up right after this break.
That's right, ACFL. We told you guys we're going to deliver, Joe.
The masters of the message board coming right up. We'll be right back.
You know what we got to do here, Joe? If it happens, last week the Warriors and the Express got to play the same team once again. You know, there's only 8 teams in that AFC conference. How about we get the Express and Warriors to play once again? How about we get Hollywood here, we got Big Shauno on here, and we get the matchup before the game for that last game. I know a lot of talk about that week 1 game, a lot of controversy going on. Let's end the deal here. JT, make it happen, man. Warriors, Express, last game of the season.
If that's what you want, then you sit in the middle. All right, we had said that we had a big surprise for you. Jim Flanagan is like the local pizza guy. He delivers. And we are having here the masters of the message board. And we're going to let these guys introduce themselves. First of all, I'm sure everybody recognizes Hollywood. Give a wave out there, Hollywood. Everybody knows Sean. Jay, you want to introduce yourself there to the camera?
What's going on, Jay?
Breeze, okay. So here we have the Warriors and Hollywood, and we got some poignant questions for you guys, not just about your own team, but about the rest of the division. So I'm going to start with you, Sean.
Yes, sir.
You come off a very tough loss on Sunday to the Wildcats. The field conditions were not great, but everybody had to play in those conditions on Sunday. So we can't blame the field. You lost a tough game, first game of the season, to the Express, on what you called a controversial call, but what the Express called a good call. So, I mean, do you think that game sat in your craw the entire season?
Well, Joe, first can I say something to you real quick? I also play in the A of the Cheeky Monkeys.
It has nothing to do with this
I
conversation.
know it don't, Joe, but I was hurt that game. I got hurt.
Okay.
So I couldn't play against my good buddy over here, Hollywood.
Okay.
But that call did hurt us.
Did it sit in your craw for the entire season? Because it seems to me that your entire focus for the entire season has been on the Express. I mean, people read the message board. It's like an ongoing war here, Adam, between the two. Now, did that game just stick in here?
It has for a while.
Did it stick in here, that loss?
Let me answer that. I can honestly say it did, because our whole focus for the rest of the season was on, I guess you would say, the number 1 team.
So, in essence, what you're saying is losing that game
Made us
distracted you from the rest of the team.
It made us overlook and take for granted other teams.
All right, but hold on a second though, because you guys are still 4-3. So 2 other losses have happened since that game, but 4 wins. So what happened in those 4 wins that wasn't going on in those 2 losses? Because obviously the 2 losses were because of the demoralization from losing in that first one. How'd you get the 4 wins?
Well, the 4 wins, I would say, just the teams really weren't on our level. I say the Warriors,
We
Express,
stuck together.
and you got EOC and teams like that are just on a different level from.
All right, let me shift over to you, Hollywood. You guys are 7-0 right now, and you got the number 1 seed locked up. Everything is locked up, but I got a feeling that the game is still important to you guys because 2 reasons. One, I don't think you want to go into the playoffs with your momentum in a negative spot, and number 2. You just flat out want to beat these guys again, don't you?
Of course. Well, I'll tell you straight up, my team has been foaming at the mouth. I mean, we want to play them. If it was up to us, we would play the Wildcats and Warriors every week. We don't care. We want to beat them every time, and I don't want to hear his mouth. So yes, this game, I'd rather be 0-7 and beat them and go into the playoffs on a positive than be 7-1 and go to the playoffs.
So let me ask you something. Just a second, have you jump in. You're 7-0 right now. You guys have, you both play physical football. That's just the way it is. Your physicality has worked all season long. Is there anything that you need to tweak or adjust, or are you guys just in prime A shape right now, and there's nothing else you need to do except step on the field and play your game?
Well, our defense has been playing really good. Like, that's the reason why we're 7-0. Our offense has been, some games we come to play, like there was times when we played team, and team played a great game against us. I threw 4 picks, 3 inside the 10. That's on me. But our defense is finally, everyone is together, they show up, and they play really good ball. He plays linebacker, it's great. Him and my brother, they're great on the same side. So, I mean, But we want to come at you, we want to play physical, we want to let you know.
Jay, you play a lot of offense too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen you run with the ball, your feet don't touch the ground.
No, they don't.
So, I mean, you're
I try
very,
not
very
to.
quick, you're a very dangerous weapon. So, I mean, you've got great balance on your O and D line. You have playmakers offensively. Adam, these guys are 7-0 for a reason.
I don't think there's any question about it, but that kind of leads into my question, and it's gonna go up to both of you guys. I'm gonna let Hollywood answer first. You said if you could play these guys every week, you would.
Absolutely.
Flat out. Right now, are you better?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Why?
I just think we have the horses up front to beat them, and I just think we're better all around.
You guys looked at that first loss as a technicality. Are you better?
Yes, we
Why?
are better because we're a physical team. We're I would like to say like an elite team. Like we've been in situations like this before.
You see, but I got a question then, Sean, I gotta interrupt you. Elite teams are not 4-3. If you lose in 2 weeks to them, you're a 500 team. You're at 4-4, you're gonna end up being a 6 seed.
Well-
So at this point, how can you call yourself an elite team? Competitive,
Well, I'm
yes.
sorry, okay.
Elite, I don't know if that's the right
No,
word.
we're a stronger team.
As compared to when?
Yes, because we're healthy now, and now we got guys that are back, including myself, and we're ready for war, you know. And like same thing when he said, we'll play each other every week if we have to. It's the same thing on our side.
What happens in 2 weeks is irrelevant. You guys go to 8-0 or 7-1. You guys can go to 4-4 or 5-3. Do you want to be the team that gets into the playoffs and is surprising everybody, or do you want to be the team that's in the playoffs and you go, oh, I got to face the Warriors? Which?
Express, they are the word.
I know that's.
I see.
Do you want to be the team that flies under the radar to the degree of? We want people to say, hey, let's play them, and then surprise them, or do you want to be, I don't want to play them?
I think that even though you see the board talk and message board and all that, teams already know they don't want to play the Warriors.
Okay, go ahead, I know what you're gonna say, but, so go ahead, say it, because, I mean, right now, guys, I'm sorry, you're 4-3, the Wildcats have beaten you, the Express have beaten you, and Team has beaten you, so, I mean, again, I understand that you're healthy. Yeah, are you healthy, Hollywood? Is your team completely healthy?
Yeah,
You have anybody-
we're 100% healthy.
You're 100% healthy, so,
He's been battling a groin all year. I mean, I've been battling a wrist and now all of a sudden a groin, but we'll be fine in 2 weeks.
You play injured over here.
Yeah.
I mean, I
There's really no
admire
excuse for
your
losing.
desire, I
There's
admire
no
your
excuse
desire,
for
I
losing
do.
a ball game. There's no excuses by that. But if you go to, like when we played team, we were up by like 21 points.
8 minutes.
And
Doesn't that scare you?
that's what the thing about it.
And that's our
Like,
problem right now,
that's
is
what- that's-
consistency.
Yes.
If we can go into the playoffs on a high note with a win
And-
against the top team.
Well, that's what we just said
And if you
before.
look at
You
our
need that
schedule-
momentum, you need that
And
momentum.
with our team, anything can happen.
If you look at our schedule, I'm not saying these teams that are weak that we started off playing first, but our last 4 games is all solid teams that.
Well, that's your
including the
division,
Express
Sean.
double, yes.
That's your division. I mean, these teams all played each other. Hollywood, you had to play all of these
And
teams.
that's the way I like it, Joe, because you know why? We've seen these hard teams that last, and now we're gonna go in the playoffs. And if we can come up 5-3, we'll get a better shot playing
But in the same respect though, guys, where, you know, if you're 5-3, yeah, you go in there with the momentum and you've played some tougher teams and you were up 21 on one of those teams, but as you mentioned, the consistency factor is an issue. In the playoffs, when you only have a small number of games and win or go home,
Mistakes cannot happen.
consistency
Can't blow
is a
21 away
tremendous
lead.
It is,
issue.
it
So
is.
does that scare you?
it doesn't scare us.
It doesn't scare
Like
me.
I said.
It doesn't scare me for a couple reasons, and I would say one reason is because, like Sean said, there's no excuses and losses. But if you you go back and look at those games. Wildcats, for instance, last week they had us up 12-0 off their first 2 possessions.
Penalties,
And
2 penalties.
The scores came off 2 4.
Well, that's the game of the week. We did the game of the week. We saw what happened.
We tightened up and they didn't
And,
see the end zone again after.
But like you said, there's no excuses. Let me
There's
switch
no
gears a
excuses.
second. Hollywood, let me come back to you. have you looked at any film or have you watched any games of the NFC teams?
I saw the Bankers a little bit. I like the way they play. They got a good O-line, good D-line. I haven't seen East Orange Rec, but you know what another thing is, Joe? I mean, me, him, we talk about it all the time. We don't care. We don't care about it.
How long is the Express team as it's constituted now? How many seasons have you actually played in?
Been together. This is our 4th season together.
So, okay, and you've been to how many chip games?
We our first season we won the TZ League. I mean, it's not as good, but you
Well, no,
know.
I'm talking about just ACFL.
ACFL,
yeah.
we've been 2 seasons. In the fall, we made it to the championship. We lost to a short thing.
Tell me to call him back, go ahead.
We lost to a short thing. and
Well, that's a
then,
buzzsaw. You wanna know something? That team is on, I mean, as good as you guys are at 7-0, they just played the game, a
Well-
fantastic game against you in that game, and there was nothing you could do about it.
I think I picked the worst time to play the worst game probably I've ever played in my life.
Okay, so what experience did you take out of that game now?
Well, honestly, I was way too overweight to play QB at that level. I couldn't get away from them. They looked like they were blitzing 6 every time. I mean, I'll never blame my O-line. I'll never blame any of my guys. It's always on me. I'm the quarterback. I take all blame. I'll take all the spotlight. It is what it is.
So you've been in one chip game?
1 chip, and then we lost a tough heartbreaker to the man on my right in the winter semifinals, and I'm not happy with that.
You know what? Listen.
And Shauno was on that team.
See, Sean gets his nose in there somewhere.
That's another trophy I'm standing in front of.
Yeah.
So for that message on the message.
So what are you, 1 for about 15?
Oh, here we go, here we go.
Hold on, let's
Adam, jump in.
Okay, hang on,
hang
guys. Let's bring it back to this year, though. I asked them at 4-3 right now, regardless of what happens once they get into the playoffs, do they want to be the team that flies under the radar, people don't talk about it, or do they want to scare teams already? You guys are 7-0. That's self-explanatory. Does anybody scare you? Do you look at anybody? Do you go in there and go, you know what? I'm a little worried about this.
We don't get scared of it.
Well, there's a difference between scared and worried.
Scared and worried.
Scared and
You're
worried.
right. Scared and worried.
There isn't a team
Hold
here
on,
that.
I'll tell you one thing.
You-
Go ahead.
I'll tell you one thing.
Go ahead.
There's not one person in the AFCL that can stop me. Not one person on defense.
But hold on,
When
you
you say
guys
stop
just.
you, do you mean catch you?
Catch me,
Guard him. He's
guard me, hold
Guard
me,
him. Jump.
cover me.
You gotta laugh about this.
Hold on, wait, hold on, let Hollywood talk.
Listen, you
Yeah,
can't.
do me I'm gonna let you answer, I'm gonna let you respond, go ahead.
We learned in the fall chip, we learned a lot. Size cannot beat speed. A short thing is loaded with speed.
Yes, they are.
So, I mean, I lost a lot of guys from my full team. I lost Plusha, I lost Keneally back to the Wildcats. So I just said, I'm gonna try and get the fastest kids possible that know fundamental football and know how to play. And I think that we're built to win. And I'm not worried about anybody. Bob, I'm sorry, but no, I'm not worried about East Orange Rec.
But you guys just mentioned, you know, you haven't seen East Orange Rec, but you called out the Bankers and you.
No, I didn't call them out. I
Not
like
to
the way
call
they
them out,
play,
but
yeah.
you label them as a good team.
Yeah.
If you happen to meet up with the Bankers, that doesn't get inside you a little bit, that doesn't get inside your head and go, this is a good team, we might have to buckle down here just a little bit more.
Well, I mean, we wouldn't look at any team and say, oh, this team's horrible, we're not gonna come to play. We always buckle
You
down
gear
and
up for
play. We
everybody.
gear up for everything. I mean, we love playing ball, and that's
Hollywood.
always what we're gonna
Hollywood,
do.
Sean's about to lose his liver here if I don't let him open his mouth, so when you wanna respond to something that Jay just
Whatever
said?
comes out of his mouth is irrelevant anyway, so.
Howard was a funny dude, but Jay, that was even funnier, man. Listen, the first game, ask him how many.
Okay, we're not gonna
catches
get into stats, so it's 7-0. How do you argue with a team that's 7-0? Sean, you can't do
Can I
it.
say something? Can I say
One
something?
thing.
What?
Joe was there. Joe was the ref of that game.
Thanks.
That first week. Joe was the ref of that game first week. He knows the truth.
The truth was, the ref made the call in the corner. I was 30 yards away, Sean.
And you still know what the
Joe
truth
tiptoeing the line.
Joe,
I mean, guys,
Joe, all you gotta
don't
do
pull me
is
into
just give the camera a little nod.
Look,
There you
all I
go.
know is the
You know.
W went this way, the L went here. I didn't,
Listen, you know what? Hollywood reminds me of like me at a younger age because I was once like that, Joe.
But how old are you, 90 now?
Well, listen, we're not gonna get that far, but you know,
Calm down over there.
All right.
you're trying to take my message board hype.
No, okay,
Get some there.
but we're talking football here, Sean. We're talking football. So the way I see it, you guys are 7-0, you're definitely a team to beat, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, they are.
You got experience from previous chip games, you are loaded with speed, you have some playmakers. DJ Kennedy, I love DJ, was a star at Mawa High
Yeah.
School. Matt can make
Yeah.
some plays.
Julius.
So you have playmakers
Yeah.
on your team, it's not you don't have playmakers.
Myself.
Well, okay. By the way, with the new Flag B Player of the Week, guys, you're looking at the first coach to nominate himself since we've been. Hey, you want to give him the empty box? Here, the SSB box.
Listen, no.
There it is, right here it is, SSB. Hey, Player of the Week announced next week. Sean, this is why he has to get to the gym.
And I do push-ups. I don't go to the gym, but I exercise.
On a serious note, to close out, how would you guys, like I said, you're gonna end up the #1 seed. It's gonna be an interesting game for them more than you, I think. I mean, I know you wanna win it and go in on a positive momentum, but I got a feeling that even if you were to lose that game, you're not gonna let your team get down anyway.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna do that, but I'll tell you one thing, if we do lose a game and go 7-1, I think
Never
the
gonna get
season's
an
a
end for
failure.
me.
Really.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, how important is it to you to be 5-3 versus 4-4?
You know what's important? I told to my you guys know this is my brother, right? Terry.
I've never seen him before in my life.
We talk together all
You've
the
yelled at
time,
me
you
a
know,
few
man.
times.
Yeah. We talk together all the time, like, you know, we're understanding that, you know, if we do lose to the Express, that the season starts the following week, and regardless, we can't make like mistakes or like we know.
You gotta play the perfect game. Is that what you're trying to
Yes,
say?
yes.
You
You know, Express is a good team. You know, I'm not gonna sugarcoat
Can't
it.
deny that. Can't
You
deny
gotta
that.
say this though, guys, because it's interesting just to hear the differences in how you guys speak. You guys are 4-3, they're 7-0. 7-1 for them is a failed season. 4-4 for you means the season starts next week in the
Yes.
playoffs. That's a pretty
That's
interesting
why I
kind of
said-
dichotomy when you think about the differences.
That's why I said
You
it.
know what I take out of that? I take it out of that is that we've been in the league double, maybe triple the amount of seasons they have.
How many years have you been?
We've already
as-
had
as
these.
the-
We
Well,
ain't
let's say
no-
9. We've been
We've
there
already
since
ran the table.
2004, I believe.
And you won a chip what year?
Yeah, 2008, I believe.
As-
As the showstopper.
As we get ready to close this up here, obviously when you guys played the first week, the teams are not. You can be honest.
You're a different team.
You're a different team, but you guys don't like each other, whether you're the same team or a completely different team. You guys are giving your all. You want to go 8-0. You
Yeah.
want to leave on a winning record.
And
Giving
we-
your all the last time you guys played came down to what inevitably was a technicality. Whether it worked out in your favor, didn't work out in your favor, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It came down to a technicality. What is giving your all? I'm assuming you guys are giving your all. Is your all enough? Because you're pretty even, obviously,
No,
if that's what
we
it came
are.
down to.
And
And the other,
like I said earlier, we're healthy.
the other interesting thing
And
you
that's
said,
big key.
the other interesting thing you said was, and I asked you the first question, did that game stick here for the entire season? You said yes. And it's very difficult for a team to shake that once it's in there, because after next week, the only time you'd ever see these guys again would be in the division final.
Finals.
You know, and you're gonna have to play other teams before that.
Mhm.
So if your focus is on them and you're not playing them, that's a recipe for disaster. Where they're, and whether you
That's
lose
true,
or
Joe.
not,
That's
whether you
true.
lose or not, you're still in the driver's seat. I mean, I know what you said about 8-0 versus 7-1, but even if you were to get beat by these guys, you'd still be in the driver's seat. You still control, everything would be in your favor.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in the NFC, you would still be the #1 seed because the top team there only has 6 wins and they have 2 losses, so you'd have only 1. But that aside,
You know, it also gets harder for Express because we were in that situation last year. We actually went 8-0 and went the game before the championship to go against the, I believe.
you lost to a sure thing.
Oh no,
Because
we
they
lost to
faced
the
the
Wildcats.
Yeah, they lost to the Wildcats.
We lost to the Wildcats in the playoffs.
Well, you know, and you mentioned one quick thing, Sean, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to throw this in. the Wildcats, we haven't mentioned them at all, Adam. Now, you beat them by 3 points, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you lost to them.
By 5.
By 5.
Mhm.
Wildcats present any kind of threat at all? What do they do that could upset the apple cart?
Me personally, my opinion, I think we match up perfect against the Wildcats.
Okay.
Luigi's great behind there. If you pressure him, he's a very different quarterback than if you give him time. They have Plesha, great athlete. They have Keneally, who's a stud. But I just think that we're better.
Okay, good answer.
You see, you answered my question, because when you said that we match up perfectly, is that perfectly for a win for you guys, or is
Yeah.
that just perfectly for a really good matchup?
Perfectly for a win, because the first time we played, obviously they didn't have Luigi. I'll give them that excuse. But we didn't have our whole offensive line. And it was basically even. And we played even. It's going to be an even game. When we play them, it's not going to be a blowout. It's not going to be a blowout against the Wildcats. You got to dig down. You got to put your big boy pants on, and you got to play.
Now, before you get to them for a possible third time, and you win your first round game,
Okay.
regardless of what your record is, and the Wildcats win their first round game, that's your next matchup. So now you're going against a team that's already beaten you, and waiting for you, if you win that game, is another team that may have beaten you twice. So, I mean, for me, you guys got your work cut out for you.
Oh, no, we definitely do.
Uphill
We
battle.
definitely do. Like I
And-
said, we're not sugarcoating anything, we're not running from anything.
And on that
Both
note,
teams is good teams.
it's going to be a good game. Now, I'm looking forward to the
Or-
game next Sunday. You guys get a week off to, like you said, heal up. Hollywood, you got a great squad. I've seen you guys play. You got playmakers on offense, defense. Your brother is probably one of the better D linemen I've seen around. He's incredibly quick for a guy his size. Gets into the backfield very fast.
You got to be
It's
quick in
rough
my
a
house
lot
to
out
get the
there.
refrigerator.
So, but there's one thing I want to see you guys do for all our listeners before we wrap up. Adam and I are going to slide back. I want you guys to shake hands on the air so that
Slide
this
back
can be
or run like hell off the set.
so this can be archived. We have it on tape. Big Sean and Hollywood shaking hands. The message board tonight, I have a feeling, is going to be crazy because you guys aren't seeing this till Thursday, but these guys have done it tonight. So you're going to hear a lot of I was better, he was better. So Adam, let's slide back. Let's give these guys the opportunity to stand up and shake hands.
Get that beat going.
Good luck the rest of the season, okay? Guys, this is Joe and Adam and Jim Flanagan on the camera saying good night from this wing in the ACFL. Good night, everybody.